All right, everybody, thanks for joining in. This episode, we are taking a step back to the as early as you can go in the 80s, all the way back to 1980. And up until we decided to do this movie for the show, I think the last time I saw it was at your house, dude. I'm pretty sure. So it would have been like sixth grade, I'm guessing. Maybe seventh grade. I don't know. But 30 some years ago. But here we are, 2020. And we're talking about a movie that is, are you ready for this? 40 years old.
40 years old.
That's right. We're talking about
Man.
none other than the Jaws ripoff Alligator.
Yeah, one of the better Jaws ripoffs called Alligator. Yeah, this is a film that's actually near and dear to my heart. It's one that I remember watching when I was really little, and I think I actually even saw this film in the theater. I could be wrong about that, but I do believe that as a really little kid back in 1980, so I would have been 3 years old. Again, the same year that Empire Strikes Back came out. I do have this strange memory of seeing this in the theater, and then of course on TV whenever they aired it on network television. One of the better Jaws ripoffs, in my opinion.
I will say that if I was asked when we were in grade school to name Mark's favorite movies, that I am pretty sure that at the time I would have been like, oh, Alligator's got to be up there. Because
Really?
I remember you loving this movie, and I remember this was one of those movies when you finally had it on tape. I don't remember if you had like the actual VHS or if you had it recorded from somewhere, but I remember like it was one of these things like when you had it on tape, it was one of those ones for at least for a while, and maybe it was only a week, I don't remember. But I remember it was one of those things where you brought it up all the time, and it was like every time I went to your house, it was like, let's watch Alligator. And it's one of those things where I remember seeing this movie probably a billion times when I was a little kid. But yeah, and then when I left, I was like, no desire to see it again until a couple of years ago, because when I started collecting VHS tapes, this was one of the ones I wanted to get, but this is one of those like ones that was never evidently mass produced. So it's kind of hard to come across for less than, an arm and a leg. But up until we decided to originally do it, it wasn't one that I really had much interest to see. And honestly, it's kind of a hard movie to find.
It is a hard movie to find. It was a hard movie to find back in the day too. It was one of those films where, like I said, I remember seeing it as a little kid, and then I wanted to go find it again. And even as like, I don't know, whenever, probably like fourth, fifth grade when we started hanging out, there was only one video store in town that had it, and thankfully I had two VCRs at the time, so I was able to copy it. And that's my copy, was one of the what do you call them, the reproductions or the bootlegs or whatever you want to, of the film. And I watched that thing over and over and over again. It was one of my favorite Jaws ripoffs by all means. I love Jaws ripoffs. I'm a huge Jaws fan. I still am. And Alligator was like probably one of the more entertaining ones, because there's some really shitty ones out there. There's some that are just, you can't even get through them. They're so bad.
So I wonder if there's like an FBI agent listening to this show, and he's like, oh, that guy just admitted he was copying VHS tapes. There's warnings on the beginning of those, and now he's like frantically looking through his FBI rule book trying to figure out what the statute of limitations is on pirating movies back in like 84. I saw the other day, I was somewhere, it must have been a thrift store I was at, and they had a dual tape VCR, like still in a box. Or it was in a box. I shouldn't say still in a box. I'm sure it was out of the box at some point. But whoever had like donated it or whatever still had the original box.
Mm-hmm.
And like on the one side, the thing that it said was like the tagline or was whatever was like, easily transfer from one tape to another tape. And I just kept thinking, I'm like, I wonder how long they actually sold those for, because I'm pretty sure like places were like, yeah, you can't sell those. And I don't remember why I didn't. I think they were asking like $25 for it, which I mean, it's not a lot of money, but I was kind of like, I already have like 6 VCRs. I don't need another one.
Yeah, the good old days, huh?
Oh man, it's like I have one that's that has a Blu-ray, or not a Blu-ray. It has a DVD player on it and like a VCR on it. But the way that it's set up, you can't record from the DVD player to the VCR. I mean, not that, back when they came out with those, I mean, people were probably like, oh, I don't want to do that anyway. But it's weird. It's like it's 2 machines in one. Because you either have the DVD player is on or the VCR is on, and the DVD player goes through an HDMI output, but the VCR goes through like a whatever RC cable output. So it's like they're completely 2 different machines in the same box. It's so weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. Man, that was way off topic for the Alligator episode. Sorry, folks.
Well, we're going back into the in the VHS era because of this film, but yeah, this was one, like you said, it's a very difficult one to find right now. I know that there was a DVD that came out several years back, and I think now that one's even hard to find, and it's raised in price, and we had to we couldn't even find it on Amazon, so I think we both had to watch it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a basic story. It's actually based off of an old urban legend about the the kid who flushes his baby alligator down the toilet, and then the alligator ends up living in the sewers and eating people. And that's pretty much that's the whole story, really. I mean, you throw in another little angle where there's a company that is creating some sort of growth hormone, and they ended up like testing it on dogs, and then they throw the bodies of the dogs into the sewer, and the alligator had been eating it. So, of course, we don't just have a regular alligator in the sewers; we have a giant alligator in the sewers in this film, and just to make it a little bit more, like a monster movie. So yeah, that's basically it. We've got a giant alligator living in the sewers coming out and eating people.
Could you imagine if it would have been just a normal alligator? How funny that would have been. Like people like terrorize, like, right. And then like it comes walking out, it's like an 8-foot alligator, and like oh, that thing's not big at all.
Oh, too funny.
Like the one kid in the movie is like, what did he say? Like, it's like the size of a Studebaker or whatever the hell he said.
Oh yeah.
But then the funny thing about that is like, the kid's like, oh, it's the size of a Studebaker. And then the alligator comes out and he's like, no, that thing's like the size of a city bus, dude. It's not the size of a car. It's huge.
It is huge.
Oh, man. I got to say, this movie is exactly what you would expect it to be if you were someone in 2020 who has never seen this movie before, and somebody said, oh, you got to watch this movie. It's on, this whatever streaming service, or it's going to be on, HBO on Saturday night. Watch that movie. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. And you looked into it and you're like, oh, it's from 1980? Oh, and it's a Jaws ripoff? Oh, what the hell, I'll watch it. I mean, you get exactly what you pay for. I mean, it's not a good movie at all. It is, but at the same time, it's very gory at times.
It is extremely gory. It's like that's one thing I wanted to say. I remember that specifically. This is a very gory film. And again, this is 1980, so it's all practical effects.
Yeah, and then what's weird though is I mean, it was probably filmed in like in 79 or whatever, but this really has like a 70s feel to it. And what I mean by that is you have these moments of like ultra gore, which wasn't very prevalent so much in the 70s. I mean, there was some gore in the 70s. That really kind of was an 80s thing. But you had these like terrifying scenes take place, and then you would have these like real low, like almost put you to sleep kind of periods in the movie where it was like really slow at times, where it could really, and we've said this before, but this is one of those movies where it almost needs somebody like a Svengoolie or a Joe Bob to come in and kind of break up those slow parts a little bit. Like, hey, let's take a commercial break here, guys, before you guys fall asleep, and let's review what we've seen. And here this is what's coming up. Stay awake. We got some more gore coming up, kind of a thing. Because that was the one thing I did notice. Like, there was a few times where it really, really got slow, and you're like, oh. So, I mean, in those moments, it really reminded me of like a 70s era movie.
It does have the kind of the little slow spots, the whole investigation, like where you've got the, the scientist meeting up with the cop, and which is a very, that's again another like one of those, you see that all the time in these monster films, these Jaws ripoffs, and it goes back to the original Jaws where we've got, Roy Scheider as a chief of police, and then he gets the marine biologist played by Richard Dreyfuss coming in, and to kind of give him the scoop of teach him about sharks. And in this one of those kind of cheesy little plot points is that the cop, who is like basically the Roy Scheider character of this film, who is investigating all these these deaths and body parts coming up in the sewer, he ends up connecting with the biologist, who happens to be the same girl who flushed the alligator down the toilet when she was a little kid, or her dad did, or whatever. And that's one of those kind of little cheesy plot points that carries through the film.
That whole thing at the end of that, when they like throw that twist in there and like, oh, my dad said that the alligator died or whatever, but I know he flushed him down the toilet. It's one of those like reveals where you're like, oh man, I saw that coming an hour ago. Come on.
That's too funny.
But so here's one thing that I want to talk about with these movies back in the day. I mean, they still kind of do this. They actually do it. They've never stopped doing this, I guess, but times have evolved a little bit. But that relationship between that cop and then that biologist lady, I mean, what the hell was that, man? That almost reminded me of something that you would see in a Tom Atkins movie. Like
yeah, it pretty much was. I think that was a 70s, early 80s type trope.
Oh, man, it was horrible. You have this like 50-year-old guy like hooking up with this whatever 25-year-old, and then but the thing with this movie is like they went over the top with it because he was like a complete ass to her, like through most, like pretty much like, hey bitch, get over here and blow me, go away, no, get over here and do it, kind of a thing. And then but then she's all like, oh, okay, whatever. It was so weird. Like it was just like, it was almost not uncomfortable to watch, but like when they end up together, you're like, ow, why are you with that guy? I mean, with the Tom Atkins stuff, I mean, at least Tom Atkins wasn't a complete jerk to the girls that he picked up. Yeah,
it's kind of one of those weird, I probably like those late 70s to early 80s type things there. But yeah, that's I think that's kind of, when you look back, that's how they did it back then. So, what was one of the more disturbing or scary death scenes in this film? Because I've got mine right on the tip of my tongue. For you, what was one of yours?
Well, I mean, nothing really jumps out for me. I mean,
Well,
but
can I share mine?
yeah, go ahead.
I thought probably one of the creepiest ones was the scene with the kid in the swimming pool when he walks the plank.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, and then the pool just turns red.
right, yeah, I thought that was one of those like, oh my gosh, that is creepy. Because you don't think about that. Like, the alligator snuck into that in the backyard pool, and these kids are playing. It's like a Halloween party or some kind of party, and they have the little kid walk the plank, and they're dressed like pirates, and he falls off the diving board, and the alligator eats him basically, and like the whole pool turns red. Yeah, that was pretty creepy.
Yeah, see, now, I mean, that scene is completely unbelievable, of course, but the one thing I didn't realize about this movie until after I watched it again is that this story supposedly takes place in Chicago. And again, this goes back to the kind of what I was talking about before with back in like the 70s and 80s, they seem to have this thing where these really old men were with these, fairly young women and stuff. But the thing that a lot of these movies got wrong about like the Midwest back in those days was like that, like, oh, this is supposed to be like, fall time or whatever. And these kids are swimming in their pool in the backyard. Wait, what? No, that's not how it works. And how the hell did this alligator survive in the sewers in Chicago in the wintertime? There's no way.
You're right. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
That's just always, I mean, that's one of the things that, and I love Halloween to death, but that is always one of the things that bugs me, like with Halloween, is like these girls are walking home from school on October 31st in 1978, and, they're just like walking home without their jackets on or anything, and I'm like, that's not true. I never got to go trick-or-treating when I was a kid without my coat on. It was always damn cold at the end of October.
Right. Too funny.
Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, I will say, the one thing I will say with Alligator is, I mean, outside of it being a horror-hosted type movie, this is definitely one of those movies that you want to throw on Friday night, Saturday night, whatever, Sunday afternoon. You got some beer, you got your popcorn, whatever. Maybe you got a little weed, get a little buzz going, and you sit back, and you can't take it too seriously, because if you overthink it, you're going to wreck it for yourself.
Absolutely. Good way of looking at it for sure. It's just a fun monster movie. It's a creature feature. Watch this one with a double feature of this and Piranha.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, another one you can't take too seriously.
Not at all. Absolutely. Just fun monster movies. That's all we're looking at here.
So, yeah, I give Alligator a thumbs up. And, I mean, yeah, I waited probably close to 30 years to revisit it. Am I going to revisit it again anytime soon? Probably not. But if it pops up like on Joe Bob or, Svengoolie does it out of the blue or something, yeah, what the hell, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll go even a little further there. If I find it at a decent price for Blu-ray or DVD, I'll even pick it up and purchase it. And I'm going to definitely give it a thumbs up. It's one of my favorite creature features, and it's just an enjoyable monster movie with a whole heck of a lot of gore.
And no boobs.
Yeah, but there is he does say that she has good tits, though. We just never get to see them.